Final letter to Sheriff Norton. Your constitutional duty to uphold the rights of Mr. Zachary Travis Moore. January 14th, 2025. Date, January 14th, 2025. Sheriff Tim Norton, Elbert County Sheriff's Office. Copied, Under Sheriff Dave Fisher, the Court Clerk of Elbert County, the HR Department of Elbert County, and the law firm prosecuting this fraudulent case. Subject, your constitutional duty to uphold the rights of Mr. Zachary Travis Moore. Dear Sheriff Norton, this letter serves as a formal reminder of your duty as a sworn law enforcement officer to uphold the Constitution of the United States. Your role is not merely to enforce orders or follow directives from courts, but to ensure that no person's constitutional rights are violated, including those of Mr. Zachary Travis Moore. Mr. Moore's rights as a citizen of the United States are not contingent upon his ability to defend himself in court, attend hearings, or navigate the complexities of legal processes. The Constitution, as the supreme law of the land, guarantees his rights irrespective of procedural outcomes or judicial errors. As a sworn officer, it is your obligation to protect these rights and to hold any actions contrary to the Constitution in contempt. Constitutional duty and judicial precedent. Your oath and the supremacy of the Constitution. Your oath of office. As sheriff, you have taken an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution. The Supremacy Clause of the U.S. Constitution, Article 6, Clause 2, states, "This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, shall be the supreme law of the land." This means any court order, law, or directive that violates constitutional protections is void and without legal authority. Marbury v. Madison, 1803. The U.S. Supreme Court established that an act of the legislature repugnant to the Constitution is void. As such, any court order or action that violates constitutional rights is inherently null and should not be enforced. Ex parte Young, 1908. This case affirmed that government officials, including law enforcement, cannot enforce unconstitutional laws or orders without being held personally liable. Miranda v. Arizona, 1966. This case underscores the duty of law enforcement to prevent the violation of constitutional rights, even in the context of judicial processes. The court's responsibility and your role. Court's duty to protect rights. Courts are bound by the Constitution and cannot issue orders that violate an individual's rights. Mr. Moore is under no obligation to defend himself against unconstitutional accusations or actions. Unlawful trespass. The use of an MRAP vehicle on Mr. Moore's property was a violation of his rights. Your duty is to protect his property and ensure no further trespasses occur. Hold the court in contempt. While it may seem that you must follow the orders of the Elbert County District Court, your higher duty is to uphold the Constitution. As established in Stat Cooper Aaron, 1958, no court or official has the authority to violate constitutional rights, and you are obligated to resist such actions. Potential violations and consequences. If you proceed with the forced eviction of Mr. Moore, you will 1. Violate Mr. Moore's property rights, 5th and 14th Amendments. Depriving Mr. Rat Moore of his property without due process or valid legal justification is a violation of the 14th Amendment's Due Process Clause. Infringe on Mr. Moore's right to life, liberty, and property, 5th Amendment. Unlawful entry and seizure of his property constitute a violation of fundamental rights. 3. Commit unlawful trespass and intimidation. Any forced entry or further use of military equipment constitutes trespass, harassment, and a violation of Mr. Moore's natural and constitutional rights. Your path forward. Sheriff Norton, you are at a crossroads. You can 1. Refuse to enforce unconstitutional orders and protect Mr. Moore's rights as guaranteed under the Constitution. 2. Comply with the court's orders and violate your oath, risking personal liability and public contempt for abdicating your duty. Should you choose the latter, you would be complicit in violations of constitutional law and liable for the consequences under cases such as Ex parte Young and 42 U.S.C. 1983, civil action for deprivation of rights. Conclusion. Please note that the video of the Elbert County Sheriff's Department trespassing on Mr. Moore's property on January 11th at 3 p.m. MT has been viewed by 187,100 people in just 2 days. The comments in this video reflect extreme frustration with the militarization of the police and their role in depriving U.S. citizens of their constitutional rights. The people are the source of the highest law of the land, not district judges, not sheriffs, but the people. All that has happened to date can be forgiven, a symbol of a county resolving its contradictions and injustices. You must not violate your oath of office, trespass again, break into Mr. Moore's home, or deprive him of his constitutional rights. Since this is your job, I have been under no obligation to write this to you or inform you of your duty. Ignorance of the law has never and will never be an excuse. All of this, including the debt default and your involvement in it, has been a mercy from me to you, to protect you from enslavement or punishment under the law. This will be my final documented request for you and your department to do your job. Sincerely, Zachary Moore.